were shocked because my dietitian said, oh, have anything you want, just steer clear of fiber and have lots and lots of meat. The pediatrician calls up my mum urgently, like in the middle of a Sunday, so it was really random. And he was like, stop azathioprine immediately, she's reached toxicity levels. So at this point we were freaking out. And then we went to the naturopath and she said, you know, you've got to have more meat, you've got to get your protein, so I want you to keep going on chicken. So I was having a lot of chicken. And she said, I'm going to give you all these supplements. So I was on, it was like 24 supplements every morning. Because I had no trust anymore. Like, I didn't trust the doctors. I didn't trust this juice cleanse thing. I didn't trust the naturopath. There was no way else that I was going to trust, like at that time, I thought it was really stupid. I thought, there's no way. And I kept watching these testimonials and I watched Shamiz and I already felt like I had a friend. I already felt like he was there guiding me even though we hadn't started the program. And I watched his What I Eat in a Day and I watched all these testimonials and I was like, Mum, I think we should go for this. So we had that first initial meeting with Shamiz and instantly we were like, yes, this is going to work. And it did. They teach us to like have milk and things, and now that I've like gone through the program, I don't understand why they make us drink milk, you know? Why it's promoted. It is just a marketing scheme. And learning that during this program was a big wake-up call. And I was like, whoa, this is so weird, and we've never been taught any different, you know? It's just the way we've been brought up. I haven't had any symptoms. I don't even remember the last time I had blood or mucus in my stools, and I don't get sore stomachs anymore. Like, really clear mind. Now I trust my body to know that I did do the right thing, and like, it's just so good to feel better, you know? I know now that I can do anything, I can conquer the world because I'm in perfect health again, you know? At the beginning I was so unsure and I'm so glad I did it. Yeah, there's nothing like it really. You just feel so good all the time. You're just constantly happy, clear-minded. It's really the right thing to do. And I think everyone deserves to know that.
Give this video a thumbs up if you know what it's like to live with IBD, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. This channel is designed to help people recover from colitis, Crohn's, and any other form of IBD. You can always head to our website, highcarbhealth.com, for a free 30-minute consultation from anywhere in the world. And remember, there is a life after colitis. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of IBD Heal. I'm your host Shukul, and today I'm joined by Mia. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's awesome to have you on, Mia, and Mia has a really amazing story. Mia was diagnosed with Crohn's disease and she has now been able to heal it. She's medication and symptom free, and she's here to share her story of how she was able to do it while working with us on the program. So how about we get started with where this all began for you and how you found out that you started to get some symptoms or you got diagnosed with Crohn's disease?
Yeah, so it happened around 2021. I got like these random sore stomachs and I told my parents about them, and it came along with like a lot of nausea and stuff, and my parents just thought it was anxiety for like about a year. And so I went off dairy and hopefully that would help my sore stomachs, and it didn't, because now that I realize I was still having processed things with meat and sugar and all that. So but yeah, it got quite painful, and my parents were like, it's just your anxiety, you've just got to calm down, go to school counseling, you know, just learn to be zen, you know. But I knew that there was something up, because like these stomach cramps and nausea and stuff, they weren't normal anxiety, you know. So one day I went to my grandmother's house and we had a whole lot of junk food. We had pizza, fizzy drinks, Milo, all that. And I went to bed feeling really sick. And I was like, this is not normal. I started having an anxiety attack. I was freaking out. So we went and sat out in the cold and the wind, trying to get me to calm down. And when my parents came back, my grandmother told them, there's no way that this is just anxiety. You've got to get this checked out. And about a week later, I was noticing blood and mucus in my stools. And I was like, no, we've got to go to the doctor.
Mm.
So we went to our GP about a week later or something. It happened pretty fast. And she checked for CRP and calprotectin, and they all came up very high. So we
Mm.
were transferred to the pediatrics department at my local hospital, and they said we're going to put you in for an urgent colonoscopy. So yeah, that happened pretty fast.
Mm. And what was that experience like, getting the colonoscopy and then getting diagnosed with Crohn's disease?
The colonoscopy was terrible, obviously, because no one likes colonoscopies. I mean, the bowel prep was just terrible. But yeah, and then I woke up from like lying in the hospital and I was freaking out. I was like, what's going to happen? Am I going to
Mm.
die? Do I have cancer? I was really freaking out. And my gastroenterologist came up to me and he said, Mia, we've noticed that you have ulcers throughout your bowel and we've diagnosed you with Crohn's disease. We've got a diet plan for you that will heal you within 2 months and we'll take it from there. And I was like really stoked about this. I was like, yay, we'll be fixed. I'm going to be back to normal. And it really, really was not the case. The
Well,
diet that they
yeah.
told me to go on was EEN, the nutritional milkshakes.
Oh, yes.
The ingredients, oh my gosh, they were terrible. They were like I was already intolerant to dairy, so it was like
Mm.
90% dairy. There was sugar, corn syrup, flavoring, colors, and I was on that for 2 months, and they expected me to heal. I don't even know
Mm.
what going through their heads at that point in time, but yeah, so that wasn't the funnest experience.
Mm.
Yeah,
So what did that do to
quite.
your symptoms? Did that make it, because there is some evidence that shows that doing enteral nutrition can put people into remission, but obviously it may not work for everyone. Did it improve your symptoms? Did it make it worse?
It improved my attitude ever so slightly, and I put on like 2 kgs, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe it was only 1 kg, I'm not sure. I weighed 37 kgs at the beginning of it, and I think I weighed like 38 or something at the end of it. But yeah, there was way more blood and mucus in my stool. I was like throwing up quite a bit. I had
Mm.
constant headaches, trouble sleeping because of like the constant pain in my body, joint pain. Yeah, it was terrible. Stomach cramps were insane.
Mm.
Literally thought I was dying. It was terrible.
Yeah, so the diet actually made your symptoms worse than better.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened from there? So you tried that for 2 months, then what was the next thing they tried to do after that?
So we went back to the pediatrics department, the dietitian, and she said, all right, well, nothing got better. So we're going to give you another appointment with the pediatrics team and the gastroenterologists. Hopefully, they'll get you on some medication. And so we were like, all right, that's cool, but what do we eat next? And we were
Mm.
shocked because my dietitian said, oh, have anything you want, just steer clear of fiber and have lots and lots of meat. And that was a huge turning point for us. Mum was like, nah, there's no way. It's a gastroenterological whatever disease,
Mm.
if you're eating something, it goes through your mouth and in your bowels and stuff. You shouldn't just be able to eat anything, and medication's not going to heal that.
Mm.
So they put me on azathioprine. We started out with 50 milligrams and then increased to 100. And
Mm-hmm.
then after that, in the end, when they realized that I wasn't getting better, they put me on steroids, prednisone, and that was on for like a month or something. I think it was pretty long.
Mm.
But yeah, one day I was just like, I was still on azathioprine, and the pediatrician calls up my mum urgently, like in the middle of a Sunday. So it was really random. And he was like, stop azathioprine immediately. She's reached toxicity levels. So at this point, we were freaking out. Like, my body had was like, no, no more drugs, please. Like, it was at the point that I
Mm.
was going to get city poisoning. So that was a huge wake up call for us.
Mm.
Um, so my mum was like, no, there's no way this is going to be good for her. And
Mm.
so we seeked a holistic approach. So we went to a naturopath and
Mm.
didn't really work out for that.
Mm.
I was
People
like,
don't
well,
realize how dangerous these medications are. They're like, the doctors are just like, oh yeah, just take it. It's nothing major. But what was it, toxicity of the liver? Or was it some other
yeah,
area? Yeah,
I think it was the
normally it's
liver.
normally it's the liver that kind of, and if I remember correctly from what you told me in my notes, definitely there's some pretty severe situation, and they had to take you off that really, really
Yeah,
urgently. So,
I had to
yeah,
stop
people don't
that.
realize how dangerous these drugs are. Yeah, this is serious stuff.
What they didn't tell us was there was a chance of me getting lymphoma from
Mm,
azathioprine. And
mm-hmm,
they didn't tell us that my mum had to do her own research and find that out. She brought it to the doctors and they said, no, the drug's fine. It's a very, very low risk. There's no way that that would happen. We've only had like a 1 in 50 chance of that happening. But my mum was like, well, that's terrible. It's still 1 in 50 people get
mm,
lymphoma from this drug. So that was just something that we knew we had to stop with that. It
mm,
was just no
mm.
way. And then obviously getting toxicity poisoning from that was just that was the end of the line for us. So
Yeah. So
stopped
then you
that.
went. So then you went to a naturopath, and what was your experience
Yeah.
there?
So she told us to keep eating, like at this point we were only eating fish
Mm-hmm.
in the meat side of things because mum had found out from Dr. Alan Desmond that red meat was really bad, but they didn't want to just stop me because I was so vitamin and mineral deficient that
Mm,
they thought that would be the best option for me. So we kept going with fish, and then we went to the naturopath, and she said, you've got to have more meat, you've got to get your protein. So I want you to keep going on chicken. So I was
mm-hmm.
having a lot of chicken, and she said, I'm going to give you all these supplements. So I was on, it was like 24 supplements every morning.
Wow.
Yeah, like including my medications, of course, because I was still on steroids, but there
Mm,
was a lot of pills, and I just felt like very clogged up. Like my body was just not happy. I was
mm,
constipated all the time, or then having diarrhea and vomiting up my breakfast because I took the wrong pills with the wrong other pills. So
mm,
it's just like a lot going on in that department. And then my mum was like, well, she's a naturopath. Why is she
mm,
prescribing so many pills and telling us to eat chicken? You
mm,
know? She did help me a little bit though with the whole mindfulness side of things. I
mm,
learned a lot of breathing techniques and
mm,
how to sleep really well. Um, but yeah, just knowing that many pills, it was really freaky. And I was like,
mm,
I had so much trust in her and the doctors. Like before the EEN ended, I was like,
mm,
oh my gosh, I'm healed. And then going through the naturopath, I was like, she's gonna heal me. But I used to fall asleep in that naturopath office. Like I was so tired.
mm, mm,
Half days at school, fall asleep in the office because I was just that tired and my bones were aching.
mm,
Apparently, that's another symptom of Crohn's, but we've just always counted it as the medication because one of the
mm,
side effects.
mm. Yeah, and at your age, you don't want to be popping that many pills, and or you're 13, 14 at that point in time.
I was 13. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember like when I was like 5 in my primary school, taking pills was cool because you had something wrong. For some reason, that was a cool thing. But taking this many pills was just, it was a burden on me, really. I should have been a normal teen, just living my life, but it was very different. And I hated it. People were always constantly staring at me. I lost heaps of friends, not just because of the pills, but because I was taking so much time off school. People thought I was just bunking out, and
Mm,
it was horrible. There was a lot going on in my life, and it's just not fair. Like people need to stop judging other people and
mm,
not judge a book by its cover. That's such a cliche, but it's really true because you don't know what someone
mm.
else is going through. Yeah.
Yeah, really important. You never know what someone else is going through, and unless you know them really well, yeah, no point judging them for face value things. Absolutely. Right. So obviously, taking supplements, we know it doesn't work, and it obviously didn't work for you. What did you do from there then? What was your next step?
After that, um, sorry, I just have a few notes here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Take
I
your
was
time.
having like really, really different meals to my family. Like
Mm-hmm.
because of what the naturopath was telling me to eat, she was telling us to eat like basic food. So I was having rice, mashed potatoes, chicken, fish, and steamed carrots. That's pretty much my whole diet. That's pretty much what I had for breakfast right through for like 2 months. I have photos of that actually as well. I took photos of my meals and for future reference, and I'm so glad I did because I was like, oh my god, that's terrible what I used to eat, Many portions had like an
Mm.
felt like I had an eating disorder. But
Mm.
I took more than half a year off school, so I attended Northern Health School, which really helped me out. I was able to get 2 first place awards for my schooling, which was really surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was really difficult taking that much time off school because I had no socialization
Mm.
and I was in constant pain, obviously, as well. So school was not my top priority. Mum was constantly like researching on YouTube, on Google. She was like looking at Ellen Desmond's post. She didn't know what to do because she knew that what we were doing was wrong and she just didn't know how to help me. But I really couldn't have
Mm.
like healed without my mum. She was my savior and you guys, of course. I couldn't have done it
Mm.
without you. But yeah, so she was researching all the time and she found High Carb Health.
Mm-hmm.
And oh no, sorry, before then we found this juice cleanse page and it was like this retreat. They all went to like Puerto Rico or somewhere. I can't remember
Mm-hmm.
exactly. But they were on a juice diet for 6 weeks, I think. And
Right.
there was like 12 different people that had all these different illnesses, and one was Crohn's, and that healed her Crohn's disease. And I
Mm.
was like, "No, I'm not doing that. Like, that's cool that they healed themselves, but I've just spent 2 months of my life just having liquids, and it did nothing for me. And I don't want to risk it. I don't want to not eat. I don't want to be scared of food any more than I already am. I used to cry at dinner times.
Mm.
So there was no way that I was going to do that. I said to my mum, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And she understood. So that was good. But
Mm.
then we found High Carb Health. And at the time, I was like, no, there's just no way. There's no way that eating a plant-based diet would heal me because I had no trust anymore.
Mm.
Like, I didn't trust the doctors. I didn't trust this juice cleanse thing. I didn't trust the naturopath. There was no way else that I was going to trust, like at that time, I thought it was really stupid. I thought there's no way. And I kept watching these testimonials and I watched Shamiz and I already felt like I had a friend. I already felt like he was there guiding me, even though we hadn't started the program. And
Mm.
I watched his What I Eat in a Day and I watched all these testimonials and I was like, Mum, I think we should go for this. So
Mm.
we had that first initial meeting with Shamiz and instantly we were like, yes, this is going to work. And it did.
Mm. Yeah,
So,
it did. Yeah, so talk about when you start the program, the education that you get, because it's really important for us to not only guide you through what you need to do, but to explain to you why you need to do that. So, yeah, discuss, when you get started, you get bombarded with a huge email full of, like evidence and videos and things like
right.
that. So, kind of
Yeah, so
what do
I
you learn?
forgot about that. It all happened so fast, so I actually do forget about what it was like. But
Hmm.
yeah, I do remember when we decided that I was going to do the diet. There was this big email. You're right. There was a huge email, and it had like this book like thing attached to it. And Mum printed it out. We had it in a clear file in a folder, and I would read it every morning so that I knew what was going to happen. And I realized I'm going to have to give it my oats in the morning and my toast. And at that moment, I was like, oh, this is not going to work. Surely I can still have my oats and toast. And no, and I'm really glad I didn't. I have a smoothie every morning now. Um, but it was weird getting that email, and I was like, no, this is not going to work. I had like regrets about it when I saw that email.
Hmm.
But then we went on our first actual meeting with you, and you taught me about the importance of having fruit all the time, like with the goodness of the fruit. I didn't understand. I just thought that fruit was like just another thing, something
Hmm.
that we didn't really need. Um, but I learnt the importance of the fruit and vegetables and not to mix certain fruits with other fruits because it can, they all decompose at different times, and it's gonna give you gas and bloating and stuff. And I hated having bloating. And not to mix cooked food and fruit. Yeah, it was all really weird to me. Like at the time, I remember thinking, "What the heck? Why is that a thing? I've never been told to do that, you know?" So it was really weird. And hearing
Yeah.
that watermelon and all melons have to be eaten by themselves, I was like, "Huh? What does that do?" Like it was so weird for me learning all of this stuff because the health system has literally led us to believe that what we are eating is okay. Like that we should be eating these animals. That's just like eating people, you know? It's just like eating the same thing that carnivores eat. You know, we're not carnivores. You know, we should be eating what is on the trees for us. That is why it's there. You know, it's not just there for decoration. Animals are there because they're part of the circle of life, you know? And they teach us to like have milk and things. And now that I've like gone through the program, I don't understand why they make us drink milk, you know? Why it's promoted. It is just a marketing scheme. And learning that during this program was a big wake up call. And I was like, whoa, this is so weird. And we've never been taught any different, you know? It's just the way we've been brought up. But
Yeah.
that was really weird.
Absolutely. I found it really weird as well when I went plant-based that my whole life I've been drinking milk from cows and I'm a human. And then you would not even drink the milk from your own species. You know, like we've had two
You do when
kids.
you're a baby,
Yeah. Like we've had two
but
kids, right? And I wouldn't drink the milk that my wife produces. I wouldn't. I just couldn't do it, right? And then I'm thinking,
yeah,
but I drank milk from like hundreds of random cows that I'd never seen or met and didn't know the condition of their health and things like that. So, yeah, we just had to kind of use some logic around the things that we do and realize like you got brainwashed into drinking milk from a cow, you know?
that's exactly what it is. Brainwash,
Mm.
yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, so talk about your healing journey. What happened as you started changing your diet and shifting to eating healthier?
So in the beginning of the diet was quite difficult. Um, but it's like because it was quite restrictive in the beginning.
Mm.
I don't even remember what I had anymore. I think it was pretty much just like 2 smoothies in the morning,
Mm.
and
Yeah, we
some
probably
potato.
started you probably like can't remember exactly everything that happened, but I'll kind of remind you. You started off kind of transitioning. So you had one smoothie in the morning, then you had two cooked meals, but then we quite quickly moved you to eating more and more fruit throughout the day. So then you were moving on to like two smoothies or fruit until dinner. Um, and yeah, then we simplified your diet because you had, I think there's an abscess or a fissure or something like that that the
Yeah, they
doctors
told
were.
me I had a pressure at the
Yeah.
end of my journey, which was
Mm,
really weird.
mm. So we
But
had to
I
just
haven't.
keep things really kind of soft and simple for you because we didn't want to aggravate that fissure, and make
Yeah.
it worse and have you go back and need medication. So that's why we had to restrict things a little bit for you. But what kind of symptoms did you have as you were healing?
Well, I noticed a lot less blood and mucus in my stools. Like when I had,
Mm,
well, actually, no, when I tried tomato for the first time, it really freaked me out. I woke up in the middle of the night because I needed to go to the toilet, and I
mm,
went to the toilet, and it was just a huge bloodbath, and that
mm,
freaked me out. But it's because we launched into something that I wasn't ready for yet.
mm,
And I remember telling you about that, and you were like,
mm.
oh, that was scary. But obviously, I'm allowed to eat tomatoes now, and I'm fine with them.
Yeah.
But
So we'll kind of
it's
just
just
rewind a little
constant.
bit because we want to go start from the beginning. Like as you went
Oh,
through like the initial part of the healing, the detox and that kind of stuff, and then how your body healed, and then we'll talk about how we introduce food back into your diet as well.
I honestly don't remember much. Like, I remember the hard parts, but once I was on this diet, I don't really remember much.
It's quite common for a lot of people that when they go through a healing process and they're feeling better, the body doesn't remember the symptoms of the pain that they experience. And this is exactly how you're finding it, Mia. It's quite easy not to remember, and it's actually a good thing that we don't remember because like we don't want to have to think about the painful experiences that we had. So I'll just give you guys a quick run through of what Mia went through. In fact, when she changed her diet, I think because her body had already gone through so much, and when we shifted to eating a clean, healthy diet, she felt better very, very quickly. Like she started to see big improvements in her symptoms. And her only symptom during the whole program was that she would vomit, just randomly. There was one time where it was just a random initially at the start of the program and she hadn't actually eaten anything wrong. She still vomited. But then as she got better, I think if I remember correctly, you kind of ate a couple of things that you shouldn't have
Yeah,
and that caused some vomiting. So how did that kind of experience go for you?
yeah. I had a few problems at school where the school canteen kind of called out to me. um, People around me were like, "Why aren't you eating normal? Come on, you can eat this. It is normal. You're just being weird because you're only eating plants."
Hmm.
So I was like, "Fine, we'll get a hash brown or something," and then I would spend the next day vomiting like 21 times because I was just having like there was so much oil in that one singular hash brown.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, even like there was some other times where I went to a concert and then stayed up until like 12 o'clock the next day. I was vomiting because there was just so much going on at that concert, and then I didn't sleep and I didn't eat
Hmm.
right because there wasn't enough food there, and it was just a lot going on. So then I purged my guts out, and so yeah, there was a few times where I slipped up, and then it resulted in me vomiting like crazy. But
Hmm.
now I know how to heal from that and what to do if that does happen
Hmm.
and why it happened. That's a big one for me. But it is like normal to, slip up. Everyone
Hmm.
does it, we're all human.
Hmm.
But you've just got to learn why you do it and how to improve and how to get back on the right track again. That's very important to me.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, but now I'm symptom free. Um, yeah, never felt better. I'm able to
Yeah.
do so many things. I'm way smarter than I used to be too. I think it's all the bodies.
Absolutely. And we'll just correct one thing that we mentioned. We mentioned that she might have had a abscess or a fissure, but the doctor actually thought it was a fistula. So
Yeah,
uh, the doctor wanted
that
to
was
put you on biologics because they thought you had a fistula, didn't they? So Mia and her family decided against taking the biologics because she didn't have any symptoms. Talk about that and what you decided to do and why.
yeah. So that was like almost at the end of the healing journey with you guys. Um, I think it was like just before we introduced salads, I think.
Hmm.
So that kind of gives that a time frame, I guess. I'm not really sure. But yeah, we were almost finished the program and we get a call from the doctor saying they found a fistula in the MRI that I had to make sure everything was going good.
Hmm.
And so they noticed a fistula and we were like, what the heck? And
Hmm.
I actually started crying because I felt so good. I didn't understand why there was a fistula there. So we went to the doctor's appointment with the pediatrician and the gastro,
Hmm.
and they were like, all right, you need to go on biologics. We need to get this fistula gone. We get that you're doing this plant-based diet, but it's not going to work. It's not going to last long. It might be a temporary fix. Um, but yeah, it's because of all the fiber from your diet that gave you a fistula. And we were like, what? Now that we know everything that you guys don't know,
Hmm.
there's no way that we can go on medication. So we refused. We were like, no, I'm sorry, we're not doing that. And I haven't heard anything about that fistula again. I actually forgot I had it. And I
Hmm.
don't think it's still there. It could have been a scar or something.
Hmm.
Like MRIs are not going to be the best indicator of seeing a fistula. Like it
Hmm.
could be an old one or something. I don't really know. But yeah, I haven't had a symptom since then.
Hmm.
So there was no way that I was like, yeah, I have a fistula. No way. So,
Yeah. One of the things, and I hope this isn't the case, but one of the things that doctors learn when they do their training is how to use fear to make their patients take medication. And considering you had zero symptoms of having a fistula, because they can be quite painful, and they can leak and stuff like that. Yeah, they can definitely try and like find ways to make you scare you into taking the medications, and
I was very scared of what was going on in my
mm,
body, so that's probably why in the beginning I accepted all the drugs and the steroids
mm.
and the enteral nutrition, and yeah, that put a longer, like a prolonged effect on my healing journey. I probably could have healed so much faster if it wasn't for those, but you live and you learn. So
No, but you had to go through that as well, so that you knew that it doesn't work. Because a lot of the times, if you don't have those experiences, then you don't understand what the other side is, and you can get
yeah,
complacent. So it's important to go through some of those harder lessons so that you understand that, yeah, that's not the way for me, and then you don't have any regret saying maybe I should have tried that. All right, so you've healed yourself and everything's good. You've gone through a few bumps and kind of come out the other side, and the body's feeling really good. Talk about what that feels like in terms of how your body feels now that you've gone through that whole process.
well, I am, like you said, glad that I had to go through the whole thing because I've come out a stronger person.
Hmm.
Um, but I haven't felt any symptoms. Like a few times I may have eaten the wrong thing and suffered the consequences, but I know now to not do that. And yeah, I haven't had any symptoms. I don't even remember the last time I had blood or mucus in my stools, and I don't get sore stomachs anymore. Like really clear mind. I'm able to like go on runs. I used to hate running. Now it's one of my favorite things to do, but not in the winter. But yeah, I'm trying to be more active. In the summer, I'm a lot more active. I love to swim and do things in the ocean. So, um, but yeah, I'm definitely a lot happier, a lot smarter, a lot better of a person now. I've been told by my friends that I'm such a nicer person. I don't know why that is. But
Oh, you don't put
yeah, it's
anger and fear and pain into your body. Like, it's actually shown that there's actually a book called The World Peace Diet by a guy called Dr. Will Tuttle, and he talks about how that when people go on plant-based diets, they just become calmer and more peaceful because they're not putting violence and death into their bodies anymore. You know, so
that's so
it
true.
does keep you calmer. I've noticed that as well.
Mindful.
Hmm. Yeah,
Mm.
and like just having that trust in your body how important is that?
Yeah, it's really important to like trust your body and know that when you were healing, like the detoxing and everything, you're getting to the right place. And now I trust my body to know that I did do the right thing. And
Hmm.
like, it's so good to feel better. Like, I remember when I was sick, I never thought I would be able to heal. I just thought that this would be my life now. And I know people with Crohn's and they're at the
Hmm.
point where they can't heal anymore. And it's just really sad because, I'm walking proof and
Hmm.
they're fine and they should like, you know, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
quite upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You can only do so much. You can only take people, to the, as I say, you can only lead a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. So, yeah,
it's really
that's something that we've learned as well, that you can only share the information, and then people who are open to it and ready to make changes, they'll do that and they'll feel better for it. Um, and they won't feel like they've missed out on anything or wanted to make any regrets. I've never met anyone who's done this properly and regretted going on a plant-based diet.
I wouldn't have a clue if anyone wanted to go back to me. I would be
Hmm.
like, what the heck is wrong with you? You didn't do it right then. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
love the way that my life is now. It's really good. I'm in a really good place right now.
Yeah, and now because especially because you're so young, and when you get diagnosed at 13 years old, you start thinking, oh, what's my life going to be like? What am I going to do with my
Yeah.
life? And
My life was foggy back then. I had like no idea I was going to be. I, but now I have a clear, exact path of what I'm going to do in the future, and everything just really opened up once I healed. And
mm.
the world is my oyster now, but a vegan alternative oyster, of course.
Oyster mushroom. You was an oyster mushroom.
But yeah, I know now that I can do anything, I can conquer the world because I'm in perfect health again.
hmm
And I can do anything that I want to and do anything that I put my mind to because there's nothing in my way anymore. But
Mm.
with my Crohn's disease, everything was in my way. Like there was so many things that I just couldn't do. I couldn't go to school. I didn't even think I'd be able to graduate. I thought about like dropping out of school as soon as possible to take care of my health, and I'm so glad I didn't because
Mm.
I love school now and I'm focusing really hard and I'm getting really good grades. The blueberries definitely helped. Um, Mum found evidence that blueberries help with brain power, so yeah, I'm very smart now due to the
Mm.
blueberries. Um, but yeah, it's really good to feel good. Like it just feels nice to feel clean and be normal again.
In terms of what I like to do at the end of these sessions is that I like all our clients have healed because you've been through a journey and you've learned a lot as you go through this journey about who you are, about how your body heals. There's very few people in this world who've actually been able to achieve that. So, what advice would you give people who are watching, and especially because we've helped quite a few um, people who are younger, in their teens and younger heal, but you're only the second person who's actually been willing to come and share your story, who's a bit younger as well. So, you know, to kids or to parents who are watching this and thinking, oh, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, or I'm not sure about giving a plant-based diet to my kids, what would you say to people? What advice would you give people who are watching?
Um, well, just look at the evidence. Like there's so many people that have done these testimonials, and I'm one of them, and it they're all true. Like it's really good to know that you're feeling better, and it's so worth it, really. Like at the beginning, I was so unsure, and I'm so glad I did it. Um, yeah, there's nothing like it, really. You just feel so good all the time. You're just
Hmm.
constantly happy, clear-minded. It's really the right thing to do, and I think everyone deserves to know that.
Well, this is my favorite part of the interview, Mia. You now have a life after Crohn's. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
No, it's so exciting, and Shamiz and I are super, super proud of you, and because it's hard enough for most adults to go through the changes and make those decisions and stick to it. For you to have been so strong, and hung in there, and gone through the dietary change, gone through the simple diet, and stuck to your guns about what you wanted to achieve. Yeah, full credit to you. We're super, super happy for you.
Thank you for saving my life.
It's an absolute pleasure. This is why we exist now. We don't want anyone to go through what Shamiz did, and one person at a time. We want to make that difference in the world. So there you go, guys. Everyone who's watching this or listening on the podcast, here's another person who's healed. Just Mia's healed from Crohn's disease and medication and symptom free now. So got her whole future ahead of her, and has been given a second chance to take on life and achieve whatever she wants to achieve. So, you can do it too. Don't let anything hold you back. Take control of your health, and absolutely you can do it if you really want it. So, guys, if you're watching this or listening to this on the podcast, please share this as much as you can, because it's hard to find this information, but it's so worth it when you do. So if you can share it, it will really help reach more people. If you're watching this on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up so that it reaches more people. And if you have any questions about Mia's journey, there's a comment section down below, and you can ask as many questions as you like, and we'll do our best to get back to them. If you haven't subscribed to our podcast or our YouTube channel, please do that. And on YouTube, if you click that little bell notification icon, you will get notifications of all our recent uploads and testimonials, just like this one. Apart from that, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Mia.
Having me, yeah.
Wonderful. And for everyone watching and listening, make sure that you eat plants and lots of them. Take care.